broadcast and get set up for Game 2 tomorrow night. The Mavericks right now on a 3-game win streak. Again, a couple of wins last weekend up at Bemidji. 3-2 apiece those games against the Beavers of Bemidji State. And Dan, tonight, Mavericks jump out to a 3-0 lead in the first, end up riding out what ends up being a pretty convincing 5-2 win outside of those first 5 minutes there of period number 2. But the Mavericks, very convincing, a matter of controlling play really for the most part throughout, and obviously some great defensive play tonight, not only from a defensive standpoint. You only give up 15 shots, you're going to like your chances,
yes,
but you got so many goals from the defensemen as well.
Well, in 55 of the 60 minutes, the Mavericks were really, really solid tonight. There was a 5-minute stretch of the goal 24 seconds in, and then about 4 minutes in the second period that kind of made it interesting. But other than that, the Mavericks completely dominated this game from start to finish. And as you mentioned, the defensive core really good offensively tonight, and they have that ability to step up in the play and really make a difference. And if they can just keep the puck in the zone, many times that can make a huge difference. But when they're stepping up and scoring, this can be a pretty tough team to beat.
Mike Hastings, before the game, thought that maybe they could catch Alaska a little slow out of the gate because they had been off last weekend, and of course after the long trip. And as we start to roll through the highlights here, especially 3 goals in the first period of play, that came to fruition. The Mavericks got that quick start and had the 3-0 lead after the first period of play.
Like I say, I don't think that we are flying it. We've seen the Mavericks play faster at times, but I think they played at a pace they really like to play at, and they can continue to play it for a long time. Casey Nelson gets the Mavericks up 1-0 at 10-11 the first period from Zach Stepan and Teddy Bluger. That's Bluger's second assist, Stepan's third of the season. Mavericks up 1-0. Second goal is Sean Flanagan from Hunter Brinker at 12:52 to make it 2-0. 2 defenders, and we saw Flanagan just step up there and continue to step up, and he put it away. Then Utsi finishes off the period on the power play at 14:26 from Stepan and Flanagan. It's 3-0 Mavericks after 1 period of play.
Let the Mavericks come out here in the second period, Dan, and maybe got a little too fancy, a little bit too relaxed, and even at this level, you lose that edge, you're going to pay for it, and they gave up a couple quick goals.
Well, 24 seconds in, Becerra makes it 3-1 from Morley on the power play, and then just a couple minutes later at 4:37, it's Krieger from Morley, and it's a 3-2 game, and you go, wow, they're right there. But the Mavericks come back with a big goal in the third period from, in the second period, Bryce Gervais from Nelson and Flanagan at 10-11 to make it 4-2, and that score was going to hold up, and they end up with one more in the third period. Flanagan on the power play coming up here, we'll get a look at that one. Flanagan on the power play at 15-12 to finish off the scoring. His second goal of the night and 4th goal for the defense. And if the Mavericks get 4 goals from the defense this season, in most games, they're going to put a W up in the column.
And so many of the goals that we saw from the defensemen were plays that went against their kind of on the weak side. Yeah. Guys able to come in from the opposite point and catch guys and get some great angles at the goal.
And the shots on goal, Mavericks by 30, 45-15. Power plays, 50% of the night for the Mavericks. They gave up 1 power play goal, 1 of 4 for the UAF, and then 23 minutes in penalties to 8 for MSU. 34-20, the faceoffs, Mavericks stretched it out. They had a 6 faceoff lead after 2, and they end up winning by 14 on the faceoff battle, and that's a possession. And that's one thing Mike Hastings talked about. We want to possess the puck more.
Sean Flanagan, certainly, if we're going to go with the player of the game. We now have player of the game, and we'll bring that to you in a few moments. But player of the game, Sean Flanagan, with 2 goals and an assist. Also, all their multiple point scorers tonight. Zach Stepan with a couple of assists. Michael Hunterbringer, 2 assists. And then our play of the game is actually going to come from John Utsi, who had a goal and an assist tonight as well. And again, Utsi had a goal last week and just continuing a very strong early portion of the season for John Utsi.
Well, and when you think of Utsi, he came back halfway through the season last year, and since that time, he's been just a much better offensive player than I remember him being. And here he was just able to get in the middle, find the open net, and put it away. And that's a nice goal for John Utsi here.
Our JBL top 4 play of the game, again, right there, the goal by John Utsi. JBL Real Estate Group does the little things that make the big difference. Let's take it straight into the out-of-town scores and see what happened around the Upper Midwest tonight with WCHA.
Tech in overtime over Ferris, 5-4. Bemidji and Northern Michigan did not score. Huntsville 5, Lake Superior State in overtime. Duluth leads Lowell in the third. St. Cloud leading Miami in the third. BC over Denver 4-3. That's the final score. North Dakota shutting out Colorado. They're just underway. It's Western Michigan over UNO tonight. Wisconsin, Arizona State is just what Wisconsin needed, the brand new team, and Wisconsin up by 4 in the third. It's Merrimack over Boston, Michigan over Morris, and Colgate losing big to Providence tonight, 7-2.
And again, our final score here in Mankato, 5-2. And of course, at the end of the contest, We'll have to see if there's any residuals. It was an ugly play.
Yeah.
The hit that took Jimmy Mullen out. And, of course, we'll have to hopefully bring you some type of an update on him tomorrow night. And you just have to, I guess we talked just before that about maybe Alaska coming out with more of a physical presence. I know that's not what Dallas or Dallas Ferguson's referring to, but we'll have to see if there's any, I guess, after effects of that, because the Mavericks want to play another convincing, controlled style of hockey tonight, and they can ill afford to get caught up in that type of a contest.
If you want to talk fairness, Tyler Morley should not play tomorrow night. That's just he should not play tomorrow night. I don't know that the league will do anything about that hit, but he should not play for what he did. That's just uncalled for and unnecessary and very dangerous. But my guess is he's in uniform tomorrow night. The Mavericks have to make sure that they avoid that type of stuff, because that's not their game. That's not the type of game that they want to play. It's not a game that college hockey wants to see. I think you can be very physical and very clean at the same time, and that's what Dallas is looking for, is a very physical game but very clean.
Mavericks again in this one, outside of the first 5 minutes of the second period when they gave up 2 goals, in control, and they end up getting the first game and the first win of the series here tonight, a 5-2 win. Minnesota State Mankato over Alaska. For Dan McCarger, Don Westfall, and the rest of the students from Bethany Lutheran College bringing you tonight's broadcast. We enjoyed the first one. We'll see what can happen tomorrow night again, 7 o'clock with the pregame show, 7:07, the face-off from downtown Mankato. We'll see if the Mavericks can get another WCHA sweep. They open things up tonight, 5-2 winners over Alaska.